Do you want a really super simple wooden starter cottage? Don't you go anywhere, I'm going to show you how. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening and good night, and welcome to a brand new series from me, Avomance. This is my Walkabout World. What we're going to do here is we're going to make a series of relatively small buildings, all different types of buildings, houses, bases, towers, maybe parts of things like walls or ponds or gardens, all that kind of stuff. And we're going to do basically a progressive walk around this world. So we're going to build one, and then I'll do a little path to the next one, and do a little path to the next one. And after each episode, I'm going to do the world upload. So after the first episode, there'll just be one thing in it, and then the second there'll be 2 and 3 and 4, and so on and so forth. But what's important is I want you to tell me what you would like in this world. Give me some ideas down in the comments below. What is it you would like for me to build in this Walkabout World? Let's get on with the first thing. Rules are simple, relatively basic pallets. They have to be super basic, but relatively basic pallets, stones and woods and that kind of thing. So these builds are not one chunk builds, but they're probably not going to be far off that kind of size. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build a platform that is, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to fill that in because I want to put a little raised floor on this first building. And I figured this is the first building. And what is the first thing that anybody in Minecraft tends to build? It's a house, right? So we're going to do a small, relatively simple, but hopefully quite pretty looking Minecraft house in our first episode here. And then we're going to go on and do some other stuff. I very nearly did a church. If you fancy a church, put hashtag church down in the description below. I now want to get some oak planks because, as I say, raised floor is what we're going to be going for here. So let's get this floor up on top of this stone, and that's going to allow me to do a little bit of detailing around the base of the building because it's going to be raised up, and I think that's really what we're looking for, is that kind of attractive raised feature. That is fabulous. So you can see this cobble, you're not going to be able to see that, that's all good, but what we are going to do, let me just pop this up, we're going to get a platform upon which we're going to enter the house, and we're going to make it there, and that will be potentially cobble, but also possibly some other stuff as well. I'm making it up as I go along. Can you tell? This is the style of this particular world. It's a make it up as you go along world, and hopefully we can do that together. So I reckon we need stripped wood on there. That can then work quite nicely. That needs to go there, that needs to go like that. We can then get ourselves some oak steps, put some oak steps there and there and there and there. Doesn't matter that that's hollow because nothing can spawn underneath there. So we've got a nice platform that we can sort ourselves out on. We're going to put this as the door, which means that we need to put that like that and bring that right there like that. Okay, perfect. That is where we're starting with the platform. Obviously, I need to put in some pillars around the outsides. These are generally the best way to start a house, give it a little bit of support, but perhaps I'll do it in a slightly different way. Not quite got my head around it yet. Okay, now they're all the way around, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build the walls out of these planks. Now we're not going to leave it just planks, we're going to texture it up, but at the moment I feel like a wooden house is the way to go. So let's build these walls up. One set of walls looks very blocky and flat and not particularly attractive, so let's put some upside down steps in between the posts just to give the initial start of some depth. There we go. Again, seriously blocky and flat, so we need to bring in some texture on the walls. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a window there and a window there, and then we're also going to bring in a window at this level that is 3. Let's put a window there that's 3, a window there that's 2, and perhaps just one window at the back there, like that, slightly off center. I might actually note, let's make that central as well. Shall I make these too high? Yep, we're going to too high these windows because I think the narrow window style isn't going to work for this particular build, and we're going to put some glass inside because that will allow us to guide the eye with the rest of the texture. That's fantastic. Right, so I'm going to try something a little bit different with the roof on this one, and this may not work, so hold your horses, people. We may fall over on this one. So I'm just going to get myself some spruce log, and I'm going to try something that I've not done before, and that's I'm going to put spruce log there, that there, that there, like that. I'm making this up. That's halfway. I'm going to try and do an edge into the roof that's actually made of these spruce logs. I've not tried to do that before. I did it on the towers of the Avomance tower the other day, but I've not tried it on a house, and I don't know if it's going to work. Yep, I think that is actually okay. And then we're going to take spruce, and we're going to use spruce stairs to finish off this roof. So I'm literally just going to run spruce stairs across. It leaves a nice alcove underneath that gives a little bit more detail. And I bring these stairs across like this. And that also gives that kind of little bit of an overhang detail across there as well, which I quite like. There we go. And we're also going to rough this roof up just a little bit because, well, frankly, I think those straight lines are just going to spoil it. So let's just pop in, where there are steps, I'm just going to pop in a few of these blocks just to give it a little bit more of a lift. Now you can obviously change up these blocks as well. If you wanted to, you could put in something like that and then come in and do that, so you can get blocks in the middle. But I tend to do it more often using just standard blocks. It does mean that these are spawnable. These are not spawnable. It comes down to what you would prefer. Now, I think that roof looks rather good. We're going to put some additional detail into that in just a moment. I want to come around the outside because I'm still quite disturbed by the fact that this all looks so plain. So I'm just going to put another row of these around like that. And I'm also going to get myself some spruce trap doors, because spruce trap doors work really beautifully on top of oak wood, like this, as a bit of a cap. You can see that works really, really well. And similarly on here, we're going to put spruce trapdoors on top of here just to finish it off. That's a great start. Okay, so now we're going to start to put some detailing around the windows and also around the floor, because obviously we don't want that cobble visible really, so we need to do something that's going to avoid that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some upside down spruce steps, and we're going to use these as some window sills just on those areas where they're accessible. I'm also going to just swap that out because that will be visible. That's brilliant. And then we're going to get some various different fences and also some trapdoors and things like that, so as we can build up around these windows a little bit more. So those windows are starting to look quite nice now. I'm just going to pop in some more detail around the feet of this build, and I'm going to use stone brick stairs just to give a little bit more width, and it'll also guide my eye when I'm putting stuff around the bottom. That's fab. Right, so now we're going to bring in some bushes. Now these aren't necessarily going to be the finished bushes, but we are going to put these in here so as they give us a little bit of extra detail. I'm going to pop that in there like that as well. And these bushes are essentially going to be used to cover up this cobble and give a little bit of depth. And I might use a little bit more stone as well and replace some of these bushes a bit later, just to swap it up so it's not just all about the green. Okay, I think we've got a fairly decent start there now, which is fabulous. Now we're going to turn to these alcoves because we've got a rather large gable that we need to fill in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these blocks and fill these in literally around the shape of the gable. And then we're going to do some detailing afterwards. That looks good. And we're going to bring in a window that just pops there, leaving a gap of 2. And the same on the other side. Window gap of 2. We get our glass, and we're just going to pop that glass in there again. That's going to guide our eye a little bit later on when we start to dress this up. So you can see the house is starting to take form a little bit, but it's still quite big and big areas of nothingness. So we need to bring something in that's going to break up that nothingness a little bit more. So on this side, we're going to put in a chimney. Now the chimney is going to be coming from a mixture of stone, not gravel, and we're going to pop it in right here, and we're going to do that just kind of off center. So I'm just going to build in the structure of it at the moment, and then we'll finish it off afterwards. That looks okay, and then we're just going to switch up some of this detail by putting some texture and using different stone blocks. And we're going to put a stone block there because I think the chimney is going to be encroaching in onto this other side a little bit. And then level with that stone block there, we're going to put another block, and on top of that we'll put a campfire a little bit later to give it a little bit of smoke coming out the top. But what I do need is some cobble fence, and we're going to put some cobble fence around here, and that will finish off that beautifully. Now at the front now, what we've got is a big open space. We've not got a big open space on the back because we've just broken it up with that chimney, but the front is no good anymore. What I do think we need to do here though, actually, I might just swap this up a little bit, so as we've got a little bit more structure around there, otherwise that's going to look like it's not properly supported. So we're going to grab a little bit more of this oak, and we're going to build a little gable window around here. Knock out the bits inside the gable because obviously that's going to become wall, and then inside here we can start to change up these steps so as they can become more part of the building itself. Okay, that gable's starting to work now, that's brilliant. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take out all of these steps and turn them into blocks, so as we've got an area with which to work for effectively a windowsill like that. And then inside we can build in and continue these blocks around the outside as well. First off, I might actually trim this in here so as we've got a continuous wall, and then we can follow this through with more of these blocks all the way to the end, and similarly on this side as well. So that gives us the internal structure, and it doesn't look like there's any kind of strange looking bits and pieces hanging out all over the place. That can go like that. Okay, so in here now we want to continue this wall up a little bit, and we should be theoretically using the oak, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the spruce and create a window with these spruce blocks, and we'll create a fairly decent size window there as part of that front gable. Now I think that works quite well, and we'll probably tidy that up in a little bit with a little bit more extra detail. Okay, so next up we need to start thinking about how we're going to finish this off, because we're getting close to where we want to be, but it's not quite done yet. So I'm going to get some buttons first. Buttons always work. Stone buttons on wood when you're finishing off detailing on houses. It looks like the place has been pinned together properly, and it gives a little bit of strength of structure. That's fantastic. Some lanterns. Put them on the window sills is always good. It puts light inside the house as well as pushing light outside of the house as well. I've not got windowsill on that one, that doesn't matter. And one there too. And then also we're going to start to put some light kind of around the other areas. Inside here, for example, we're going to put light dangling down from there. We're going to put a light dangling down from there, and also one from up here. Now it's time to start to finish off these gable ends, because they really don't look like they're properly finished yet. I'm going to get again my two different types of trapdoor, and we're going to finish them off in the same way as we did the other ones, like that, and then put a windowsill over the edge of that, and we can also then put a light on the top of the windowsill. Let's repeat that on the other side. That is great. Now, so what we've got here is a really good opportunity to start to bring some of this green from the bottom into the top, because green cascading from the top works really, really nicely. So let's put that in there. We'll put some green out like that, and that works on that side. And now we do the repeat on this side as well, perhaps slightly less green on this side. I think that works quite nicely. So we've got plenty of green there, and we've got enough space to be able to do some other detailing as well in just a moment. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to get myself a spade, and I'm going to just build out a path from the front here, because we've got no way to get to the house at the moment. So I'm going to build this one. I'm going to build a relatively solid path, so it's not going to be just little spots of path. It's going to be almost completely path, which is not something I do very often, and I want this path to wind around a little bit. Let's bring this path around there. There we go. So we got a winding path. I'm also going to get myself some gravel, and I'm going to just fling some gravel in various areas around this path, just to give it a little bit of extra shape. And similarly, we're going to get some coarse dirt and do the same thing. And there we go. It's quite a significantly sized path, and that's good because, you know, the house has got quite a big roof. It's got a decent platform, so we want to do a decent sized house. I'm going to get some oak fencing now, and I'm going to put some oak fencing just running along the side of this path, relatively broken up. There you go. That makes for a nice, interesting shape. And then we'll get a few lanterns just to fling them on top of these fence posts to give a little bit of light of the way. I think that is a decent start. We're going to do a little bit more detail on that fairly shortly, and bushes around the outside, etc. But we need to now look at the rest of the house to see where do we need to do some more things, because some of these walls are still a little bit bare. You can see in the corners here, these are really flat corners and we don't want those. So I'm going to get some spruce fencing, and we're going to see what it looks like just to bring some spruce fencing on the sides of those. It breaks it up a little bit. We can put perhaps a lantern at the bottom of those, and that forms for a nice row of lanterns rather than it being a little bit off center. In here, I'm just going to do the same. I'm going to put one on each side. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to put a lantern in there. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to put a lantern in there. And I'm going to hang a lantern on this side from the underside of that trap door. Like that. That works beautifully. And then get a little bit more fencing here and here. Here and here. And then lantern both of those two. So you can see we've almost done the entirety of the detailing of this particular house. Now we've got some choices. We can put some flowers and flower pots and things like that, which I'm going to do now. I'm going to stick a flower pot right in the middle there, and another one there. And we can also put some flower pots on these windowsills. Not all of them, because it might look a little bit much, but let's just put one there. Doesn't have to be symmetrical. In fact, it's almost better that it's not. And then get yourself some flowers. Doesn't matter. Choice of flower is entirely down to you. I think I'm going to go with yellow because that is a complementary colour with those lanterns. There we go. That's fabulous. Now, all that remains really now is to do a little bit of landscaping around the rest of the house, and we're pretty much done. Went for a fairly basic finish for the inside of the house. We've got carpets on the floor, plenty of storage, some furnaces, smoker, blast furnace, craft table and other workstations. A little bit of green just to pop it a little bit, and in the corner we come up to a mezzanine level where our bed and a wee bit more storage is. It is fairly compact and bijou, but it does the job. I like the way episode 1 has turned out. It's got a similar style to previous builds, but also a little bit different, almost exclusively wood. As we pan around, we've put in a custom tree just over a seating area and a little pond there. You can see I've also put some cobblestone around the base of the house just to make it look a little bit rocky and break up all of those angles, which really make the house look a little bit more natural and a little less straight up and down. We've matched that all the way around and then made sure that we put plenty of bone meal to give a little bit more of a rustic wild feel around the entire garden area. So this is episode 1. We're going to stretch out a path around this build now, and then we're going to go on to episode 2 with a different build. What do you think you'd like? I've already got a few things, but if you want to add something to the list, put in the description below hashtag walkabout and what your idea is, and I would love to stick it on my list too. If you have enjoyed this video, please do remember to slap that like button. It'd be great to know you're enjoying it, and I will keep on making them. Also, if you've not already done it, please do hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to hear you in my sub club, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.